So if you believe in Bitcoin, buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip. So in my opinion, with any other long-term investment, buying often and consistently is the key to success, no matter the price. Obviously there are exceptions, but this is called cost averaging. However, at the moment, I believe that it is actually the perfect time to buy Bitcoin. Let me explain. Bitcoin is cyclical, so the price goes up and it goes down. Like strippers' booties go. I mean, it goes up and down like a roller coaster. The volatility of Bitcoin is well documented, and the reason I don't have more than 1% of my overall portfolio into Bitcoin and Ethereum or any other cryptocurrency. But to be honest, a couple of months ago it was over 1%, but because of basically the Bitcoin halving, I mean, it dropping by 50%, Bitcoin halving is something different. That was just a joke. But anyway, that brings me perfectly onto the title of this video, why it is the perfect time to buy Bitcoin. I think it's time to open the book of random quotes that really intelligent people have said that applies perfectly to the Bitcoin market right now. So here's the first one by Paul Getty. He said, buy when everyone is selling and hold until everyone is buying again. And then of course we have that old guy who goes to McDonald's every day and is one of the richest guys in the world, and he had this to say: be fearful when others are greedy and greedy when others are fearful. I know you probably heard that quote a million times, so apologies, but I think it's actually very accurate for what is happening at the moment. Because Bitcoin has been flying off people's metaphorical shelves and people are themselves basically. I imagine this is probably because people thought that they could make a quick buck by investing into Bitcoin because of the volatility, so hopefully they'd time it right, buy nice and low and sell nice and high. So now they've realised that Bitcoin is absolutely tanking and it's going for a wild ride in that direction, and that has therefore driven the price down even more. But all of this happening from my perspective is great for the long-term investor. And although I'm not a financial advisor and you should always do your own research, and especially with Bitcoin, I've come up with 3 macro reasons why I think that it is the perfect time to buy Bitcoin. Reason 1 is that in my opinion, Bitcoin is not a short-term gaining machine. It's not a get-rich-quick scheme. It's a long-term investment. And because of what's happening at the moment with the giant dip, that means there's opportunity to make long-term profit. So if you believe in Bitcoin, buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip. And anyway, if you think of Bitcoin as a short-term play, a get-rich-quick scheme, you definitely could get burnt. Is it burnt or burned? We'll never know unless I Google it, but busy man over here. And a lot of people have been burnt by Bitcoin. Either they've bought in too high or there's the Bitcoin scams that are going around. So if you are going to buy, make sure it's a reputable source and you're not buying it off some guy in your Instagram DMs. But for me, what I'm doing is adding a little bit into my portfolio. So it'll be, as I said, 1 to 2% of my overall portfolio. And I'm just going to let it sit there. And hopefully in 20 years time, it'll be a huge sum of money. So that's my plan of action. Who knows where we'll be in 20, 30 odd years. Hopefully in a yacht. Reason 2 is that the giant drop of 50% of the Bitcoin value or Bitcoin price is actually quite normal in the Bitcoin cycles. And here's a graph showing just that. I love graphs. Is that weird? Anyway, this graph shows that in 2008 there was a massive run up and then a massive drop off. The same in 2019, but not quite as drastic. And then 2020, the same. Towards the end of 2020 and the start of 2021. And at the start of 2021, it dropped and then shot up. And now we're sort of back to pre-2021 figures. It is very up and down like a yo-yo, but it is cyclical. So hopefully we'll see that run up again in the next couple of years, maybe. Who knows? So in my opinion, this is not a sign of Bitcoin just being destroyed, the whole concept of Bitcoin just being thrown out the window. This is just the cyclical nature of cryptocurrencies and especially Bitcoin. But that is just my opinion, so obviously do your own research. Make sure you know what you're investing into. So reason number 3 is corrupt countries and countries that have sort of some civil unrest are actually adopting Bitcoin. This is actually very good news for Bitcoin holders because if they are allowed and they can adopt cryptocurrency and there's not too much pushback from the government, which potentially there will be, this could actually help countries reduce their poverty. And this is obviously a blanket statement, and Bitcoin is not going to solve poverty. It's not gonna do that. It's not that powerful. However, it does give the ability for some people and some areas to take control of their own money, because you can send and receive money in a safe way. You can send it to people that you want to send it to. This is essentially the whole point of Bitcoin. It's decentralized and the banks and the governments have no access to it. And in countries where there is corruption and civil unrest, this could really help countries and people in those countries. And this doesn't only apply to Bitcoin, because there are other cryptocurrencies which are also decentralized, which is the main advantage of this sort of reason that I'm talking about. And for me, that's a really promising thing, because that means that more transactions will happen, the validity and the stability of Bitcoin may stabilize, and of course, if it does help people out and help people get out of certain situations, that's a good thing in my book. Anyway, I know this has been a short one, but I hope you've enjoyed why I think it is a perfect time to buy Bitcoin. But please, please, please be careful with cryptocurrency and Bitcoin especially, because it is super volatile. You can't be putting money in that you can't afford to lose. So for me, it's only 1 to 2% of my portfolio, or will be when I buy a bit more. And that's just purely because of my risk tolerance. I want to keep it as low as possible. Going full send into crypto would obviously not be that risk averse, would it? So each their own. Make sure you do your own research, but hope you've enjoyed this video. Please like, subscribe and comment. And if you do want a free piece of Bitcoin worth £7.50, then use the link in the description to CoinBase. All you have to do is deposit £75 and buy £75 worth of Bitcoin, and then you'll be golden. And I guess that's it. I'm not a millionaire, but I'm trying to help you become one. So peace.